Hey, what's up my loves? Welcome back. Of course, it's none other than your girl cooking with Tammy. Tonight I'm going to show you how to make a delicious holiday recipe. But you know what? I'm not going to call it a holiday recipe because you could definitely make this over the weekends. We're going to be making collard greens with smoked turkey. And the great thing about this recipe is it's interchangeable. So if you want to use, let's say, maybe ham hocks, you definitely can. So without further ado, let's introduce these ingredients and get to cooking. All right, as you can see, I have my smoked turkey legs right here, smelling all good. We also have some bell peppers, red along with green bell peppers. And we also have a yellow onion along with garlic that we're going to chop up. And of course, the star of the show, our collard greens right here. Let's get to cooking. And of course, we got our chicken broth. Can't have collard greens without the broth, guys. It's not going to be as tasty. All right, so what I want to do first is we're going to saute our veggies. All right, so we're going to get to dicing up our onions, and I got a lot more recipes to put out, so we ain't got a lot of time. All right, so I'm just going to breeze through this really quickly and try to be as descriptive as possible, especially for my novice cooks out there. Got to make sure everybody gets this done one time and everybody's food come out tasting absolutely delicious. All right, that's the whole thing. I know a lot of people are going to be cooking for the first time and it could be scary. It definitely can. Even people that cook on a regular basis, it could be scary for you too, simply because why? Because you're going to be cooking not just for yourself but for your family as well, and family, they could judge. So we want everybody to leave out saying that your food was absolutely delicious. All right, we're gonna get in there. We're just gonna dice these onions up even more because I want to release all of the flavors and aromatics that's within the onions. Once we're done, we're just gonna slide it across the cutting board, moving on to the next best thing, which is gonna be our bell peppers. All right, if you want to use, let's say, maybe orange bell peppers, red bell peppers, you definitely can. There's no law that says you can't. Use whatever you have available and let's make it happen. All right, the aromatics of these veggies is everything. I'm just going to put it together because they're all going to go into the pot together anyway, so it really doesn't matter. All right, so how's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing absolutely amazing. And I know, trust me, everybody cooks differently. I have nothing against that. But as I said, if you want this recipe to definitely stand out, especially when it comes to your loved ones, give this recipe a try. It's early enough to give it a try. And let me know what you think, whether or not if you should keep your recipe or swap it for this recipe. Chop that up just a little bit more. And we're going to get in there, grab this garlic, and we're going to remove the ends of the garlic, of course. And we're just going to take our knife, flatten the garlic out. For a second I thought I lost the garlic. I thought I lost all of it. And the reason why we do that is just to flatten it out, to make it easier when it comes to cutting it up. Because imagine trying to like cut it up and it's rolling all over the place. That would definitely drive somebody crazy. All right, enough to drive you nuts. All right, this little piece right here, I'm going to take it off of the garlic. We don't need it. And of course, all recipe instructions and details are going to be listed below. When it comes down to the collard greens, all right, I want you to inspect your greens thoroughly. And don't you dare, without washing your greens, put these things in the pot while they're dirty. Don't you do that, or I'm going to personally come to your house and get you, all right? Now, this right here, really yellow, looking a little busted. We're just going to take it, toss it to the side. No good. Same thing here. And we got a winner. All right, so we're just going to go through And I'm going to push this to the side for a second because I want to show you how we're going to do this, all right? See the stem that's right here? Now, when we was growing up, it didn't matter. We just cut everything up and put it in the pot because guess what? It's going to boil down and it's going to be soft anyway, right? It's going to be tender. So it really didn't matter to us. But some people, however, they prefer to go down the back and remove the stem. And that's the end of that. And this is what you'll be left with. And we're just going to keep doing the same thing. Check the greens, make sure everything is good. Nothing looks suspect. And once it looks good and it passed the test, then we're just going to place it to the side. And that's about it, my loves. We're going to keep repeating the same process. When we build enough greens, what we're going to do is, and of course I'm talking about like 10, 20 or more, roll it up like this right here. I'm going to start off with filling our bowl with some cold water. Going to add some salt, a couple tablespoons. Mix that on up really good. Make sure the salt is dissolved. And we're going to add our greens to our water solution. An excuse that I usually hear when it comes to washing greens is, but Tammy, I have a big gathering and I have tons and tons of green and my sink can't hold all of the greens. And there's no excuse, because if you got a big pot to serve all of those people, use that pot just like your girl is doing. Add a ton of water along with a couple tablespoons or maybe a quarter cup of salt and get to washing those greens the right way. I mean, after all, what's the rush? Because the smoked meat is going to be cooking for a good hour and a half to 2 hours anyway. So we have more than enough time to soak our greens and wash it thoroughly, guys. I don't want nobody suffering with a stomach virus this year. Trust me. Deal with this thing properly and let's just stay out of the ER. Once you're done, you're going to give the greens a secondary and maybe even a third rinse until the water runs clear. All right, our pot is nice and hot, so we're going to start off with adding some oil because we're going to saute our veggies. We're going to add our onion, our bell peppers, we're going to saute our veggies for a couple of minutes, maybe about 2 to 3 minutes, because I am cooking on high heat. However, you could definitely use medium heat, whatever you're comfortable with using. After the veggies slightly soften and the onions become translucent, at that point, we're going to add our finely chopped garlic. Perfect. All right, the veggies are sweated out. So we're going to add our garlic. Allow the garlic to toast up for a couple seconds. And we're going to incorporate our garlic with our veggies. And we're going to cover it down for about 2 minutes. I'm going to be adding about 8 cups of broth, simply because, as I mentioned earlier, I want my turkey to be falling off the bone tender. And also I want to make sure that the turkey is perfectly submerged in the broth. This amount of smoked meat that I'm adding to turkey drumsticks is perfect for like a 9x13 baking pan. However, if you have a large gathering, you want to add at least maybe 12 to 14 cups of liquid. And you're going to add double the amount of smoked meat, as you see what I'm doing here. The 2 turkey drumsticks along with some turkey wings and so on and so forth. But you want to double up on that recipe. All right. Cover it down. And we're going to allow our meat to cook for about 2 hours. All right, let's check. It's been about an hour and a half so far. So I want it to be even more tender than what it is. All right, so I'm going to allow it to cook just a little bit more. All right, my loves, my turkey is soft and tender. We have white meat, dark meat, all mixed in between, and man, this right here is so juicy and delicious, guys. All right, so another thing that's really important when you are shredding your meat, separate the skin from the bones and all that stuff. Don't leave those bones hanging around in the pot, because you don't want to serve that up with your greens. All right, shred it up or leave it as chunky as you prefer. And that's it. We're done. About 2.5 hours in order to get the turkey literally falling off of the bone. We're going to add our meat back to the pot. Situate the meat in the pot. Gonna add a couple cups of water. Let's season with some garlic powder. We have a lot of greens, so add a good amount. However, if you're making less than I am, of course, you know, you're gonna add less. We're gonna add some onion powder. And for a little pizzazz, we're gonna add some red chili flakes, all right? Not much, especially if you have kids coming over to eat. But we are gonna add enough, not to make it spicy, but to give it a little flair, you know what I mean? Stir it on in. And we are gonna start adding our greens. And if everything doesn't fit into the pot one shot, not a problem. Just allow the greens to cook down because they cook down really fast. And you can continue adding the greens to the pot once they start to break down, because you're gonna have even more room. After about an hour, so an hour and 10 minutes, let's check on our greens. I only had to add more liquid like one more time. I'm talking about like literally 1 cup of water. And here's the thing, when it comes to cooking your greens, only you know how tender you want your greens to be, all right? Some people like their greens with a little crunch. Some people like their greens to literally melt in their mouth, all right? But one thing we all agree on is this recipe right here is gonna be the most delicious greens that you ever tasted. Going for that taste test, see if you need to add maybe a little bit more bouillon, garlic powder, onion powder, so on and so forth, any special seasonings. And that's about it. We're gonna finish it off with a small drizzle of vinegar, all right? Mix it in. Make sure everything is perfectly combined. And if you're gonna get that cup ready, drain some of the liquid off and go in and enjoy some of this pot liquor, be my guest. Because your smoked turkey and collard greens are done, guys. This recipe right here, definitely a winner. Do not sleep on this recipe, all right? As always, I'm your girl cooking with Tammy, and I would definitely catch you in another video. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.